Oh no! Someone broke into Monsieur Dupont's house, broke into his home office and stole some important things from his safe. Here are 2 photos of the safe before and after the theft. Will you be able to find 5 things that the criminal stole? They stole a wad of cash, a ticket to Lyon, and an expensive watch, a necklace, and a gold statuette. Unfortunately for the thief, Gabriel Dupont is actually a retired detective. What a great way to remember the old days! Gabriel decides to examine the house and look for possible traces of the criminal. Do you see anything suspicious in this picture? There are boot marks on the floor. The size is quite large. These are most likely the footprints of a man's shoes. Now let's go to the hallway where the footprints lead. Do you see anything suspicious here? There are shards of glass on the floor. It's strange because none of the windows seem to be broken. Could the thief have shattered something that belonged to him? The criminal entered the house through the window. Gabriel decides to explore the garden. Are there any traces there? It seems the criminal dropped his hat in a hurry. Now it's time to listen to witnesses. The day before, there were 3 people in the house. Gabriel's wife, Chloe, their maid, Mary, and the gardener, Adam. Each of them claims to have seen the criminal, but their stories differ dramatically. Chloe says, "I was walking along the corridor and noticed a shadow in the garden. It was a man with long brown hair. He ran away as soon as he saw me, so I thought he was just passing by." Mary says, "I was going to the 2nd floor and noticed the shadow. It was a tall man wearing glasses, and I think he was bald. He noticed me and slipped through the window. It looked as if he dropped something when he was running away. I immediately called you, Monsieur Dupont." And Adam says, "I was planting flowers in the garden. At one point, I looked up and saw a shadow in the hallway. It was a woman. She was tall, with curly hair. I started running towards the house, but when I arrived, she was already gone." Who is right? Mary. It looks like Adam just saw Chloe, and Chloe spotted Adam, but they didn't recognize each other. As for Mary, she thought that the man had been bald because he'd had a hat on. She also said that she'd been wearing glasses. That's where the shards came from. Gabriel asks Mary for more details. She draws a portrait of the thief. A middle-aged man wearing a hat and glasses. The criminal stole tickets to Lyon, so Gabriel decides to go there. He takes a bus to the airport. On his way, he makes a decision to brush up on his detective skills. Which of the passengers doesn't have a ticket? The baby in that woman's arms. Gabriel boards the plane and decides to practice again. Which of the passengers is married? The girl with a ring on her finger. Gabriel arrives in Lyon. He comes to the hotel to ask about the criminal and is now waiting for his turn to speak to the receptionist. While he's waiting, can you guess which of these people is not a tourist? This man. He's the only one who doesn't have a suitcase. Neither does he have any souvenirs with him. Finally, it's Gabriel's turn. He comes up to the receptionist. "Hello," he says. "I'm a detective investigating crime. Could you please provide me with the footage from your security camera for the past few days?" "Of course, detective. But could you please help me to solve another crime first? I think my dog has stolen some of my papers." Can you help the receptionist find the dog? Here it is. The dog is hiding under the stairs in the hall. Gabriel has received the footage from the cameras for the last 4 days. Can you find the suspects in these photos? Here he is. On the first day, he arrived wearing glasses, but without a hat. But look, a couple of days later, he got a new hat and an expensive suit. "That's the man I need," Gabriel says, showing the man in the photos. "Oh, I know him," the receptionist replies. "He's usually absent at night and returns only in the morning, at around 10 o'clock. Gabriel decides to check in at that hotel and wait for the suspect to return. After taking his things to his room, he sits down to solve a few logic puzzles before going to bed. The first one is easy. Here it is. 2 fathers and 2 sons found 3 oranges and shared them. Everyone got a whole orange. How is it possible? There were 3 people, a grandpa, a dad, and a son. The second puzzle is harder, but Gabriel still solves it easily. Can you? A woman needs to bake 6 pies. How can she do that in 15 minutes if maximum 4 pies can be placed in a pan, and 1 pie needs to be baked for 5 minutes on each side? Step 1. We put 4 pies in a pan and bake them for 5 minutes. Step 2. We turn over 2 pies, remove the other 2, put 2 new pies and bake them for another 5 minutes. Step 3. We remove the 2 finished pies, turn the other 2 over, put the 2 half-cooked pies from the first batch and bake them for 5 minutes. The task is done. The last riddle has a catch. It goes like this. A deaf and mute man entered a store to buy a pencil sharpener. He placed his index finger in his left ear and made a rotational movement near his right ear with the other hand. The seller immediately understood what the man wanted. Sometime later, a blind man entered the same store. How did he explain to the seller that he wanted to buy scissors? He just said it aloud. He was blind, not mute. In the morning, the detective wakes up and goes downstairs to wait for the suspect, and he indeed comes in at 10:15 a.m. It's a middle-aged man wearing glasses. He looks at his watch and says, "Oh no, I have to hurry. I'm already 15 minutes late." Gabriel immediately jumps up. "It's you! You're the thief who robbed me!" How did Gabriel understand that? The watch the suspect was looking at was the one that once belonged to Gabriel. "No, wait, the man says, backing away, and then, suddenly, he dashes away. Oh no! Gabriel starts running after him, but the man has already managed to hide somewhere. He must have chosen one of these 3 ways to escape. There is a police car blocking this road. The second road leads to an alley, so dark that you can see nothing. The third road is blocked by a big crowd of people. Think! Which way did the culprit choose? He probably picked the third road. Of course, he wouldn't run towards the police. It'd also be very dangerous for him to run in the dark. What if he tripped over, fell down, and got caught? So, he chose the crowd to blend in with. Gabriel notices the criminal in the crowd. He runs after him, but the man disappears around the corner. Gabriel follows him. On the left, he sees the central square of the city. There's a cafe in the center. On the right, he spots a road leading to the park. Which way did the criminal most likely choose? The one leading to the central square, of course. There are not so many people in the park. The culprit would look suspicious running along a deserted path. and if he took a seat in the cafe, the detective would immediately spot him. Finally, Gabriel reaches the square. While he was running, he managed to request police assistance. Now he needs to find everyone who looks like the culprit before the man escapes. Can you find 5 possible suspects? Here they are. These are all men in hats and glasses. The police grab the suspects and take them to the police station for questioning. They all look very similar. Unfortunately, the criminal has already managed to hide the watch. So, Gabriel has to find another way to identify him. Who is the thief? This man. He has the same wart on his nose as the thief did. Gabriel recognizes the criminal. His real name is Charles Winston. "I didn't do anything," he claims. "I started running away because I was scared, and you have no proof that I'm a criminal." Really? Gabriel suggests that the police should examine the criminal's room in the lobby. They find a safe there. The password is a 4-letter word. There's also a hint next to the safe. 7, 15, 12, 4. Can you figure out the code? The password is gold. The numbers correspond to the ordinal numbers of these letters in the alphabet. In the safe, there's Gabriel's gold statuette. Unfortunately, this is all they find. The criminal managed to sell the rest. But what matters the most for Gabriel is that justice has prevailed. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one of them stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is a bit dripped, and you can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color to not attract any attention, but you caught him. Great job! Now your task will be able to decide which person of the 2 is in the wrong. Ready? Here's the first one. Belle and Emma are both running late for school, so they're taking a shortcut. Belle decided to walk through the woods, and Emma chose to cross a frozen lake. Who is in danger? Emma. Look, there are cracks on the ice surface of the lake. Nicole and Diana are spending time with their families. Nicole is playing board games with her dad, and Diana is watching a movie with her sister. Which one of them is doing something wrong? Nicole. She forgot about the food that she was cooking in the oven, and now it's burning. Pamela is getting ready for a business meeting at 12 o'clock. William is driving to pick up his mother from the airport. Her plane arrives in half an hour. Who missed something? Pamela. She must have confused the time. The meeting was at 12 o'clock, but it's already 12:30. It's early morning on the first day of school after the spring break. Ren and Caden are driving their daughters to school. Who is not being smart? Caden. His daughter isn't even in the car. Sophie and Ruby were having a picnic outside when it got dark. They packed their things and took off to go home and watch a movie. Who is wrong? Ruby. She left her bag on the grass. Look, her name is written on the badge. Ava and Maeve went camping in the forest. Suddenly, they noticed a moose moving towards them. Who's in greater danger? Ava for sure. She's wearing heels. Who wears heels on a forest walk? So she will run slower. Tommy went to the police and reported that he had been robbed on the street, right on the way to the bank. Here's what he said. I was going to the bank to pay back the rest of my credit. In the park, about halfway between my house and the bank, someone approached me from the back and hit me on the head. I think I was unconscious for a while. When I came back to my senses, the money was gone. I remember that the person was wearing a black hoodie and had blonde hair, but I can't say more. The detective didn't believe him. Why? Tommy said that the robber had approached him from the back and hit him, and then he had fallen unconscious. Still, he managed to give some specific details about the robber's appearance. But if it had really happened, he wouldn't have been able to see him and remember the details. Several girls went missing in a small town. The police had been looking for them for many months but couldn't find any traces. One day, they finally managed to follow the kidnapper and found the place where the girls were kept hostage. When they entered the place, there were just 3 girls. They all said that they had been locked in a small room and had never left it. The detective knew that one of them must have been the kidnapper. The first girl said that her name was Annika and that she had spent the last year there. The second girl, Amelia, said that she'd spent about half a year there. The third girl said that her name was Flora and that she'd spent about 9 months at that place. Can you guess who's lying? Amelia is lying. Look, her hair is definitely freshly cut. The other girl's hair is a mess. It doesn't look like there's a hair studio down there, so she went out, unlike the other 2. Let's test how sharp your eyes are. I will show you different objects, and your task is to find the correct shadow. Wanna try? Let's go. Here's the first one. Can you find the right shadow of this plant? Yes, it's right here. Great job. So here's another one for you. Pay attention. Look, here it is. Now let's make it harder. Can you find the right shadows here? It's this one. Now look at the pictures I'll show you and try to find the odd one out. Yep, it's right here. Here's another one for you. Do you see it? Look, here it is. Level up. Here are some animals. All of them have a duplicate but one. Which one is a singleton? It's this one. A long time ago in what is now Sweden, a princess was kidnapped. The kidnappers locked her in a small room on one little island surrounded by a huge lake. Even if she managed to get out of the room, she wouldn't be able to cross it. So she was safely hidden there. And only once a month, someone would bring her food. There was nothing on the island, and she couldn't build anything to swim. Still, after half a year of being held hostage, she escaped and returned back home safely. How did she manage to do it? It happened where Sweden is now, so it was up north. It's cold there in the winter, and the water freezes. When the winter came and the lake turned to ice, the princess was able to cross it. While Mr. York, a rich gentleman, was out on his 3-month vacation, his mansion was robbed. The security was notified and the detective started the investigation. There were 3 people caught on the security camera. Hudson, the owner's old friend, said that he'd come to collect the post. Leo, the cleaning man, said that he had come 3 days ago to clean the house. Maverick, the gardener, said that he had come every week to take care of the garden and the houseplants. All of them denied stealing anything. Who's the robber? It's the gardener. If he was taking such good care of the plants, why does the garden look like a mess and the plants in the house are all dried out? For English class, the students were supposed to read a classic English book. The teacher said that there would be no test, just a discussion. But he wanted them to take it seriously. 1 month later in class, he asked who had read the book. Only 3 students raised their hands. Still, the teacher knew that one of them was lying. Who didn't read the book? It's this student. The copies of the other 2 students' books are definitely used. Look, their spines are bent. But this student's book looks absolutely new and perfect. In the morning, a big sum of money in the office went missing from the accountant's bureau. 3 people were in the office at the time. Haley, the accountant, said that she'd left for several minutes to go to the bathroom. Eric, the software manager, said that he'd been busy with his work. But even if he wanted, he couldn't possibly have done it because the key hadn't even been there. Joseph, the cleaning man, said that he'd been cleaning the 2nd floor at the time. Can you tell who's lying? It's Eric. Why was he so confident that the key wasn't there? He knew it because he saw it, and probably he had a duplicate key to open it. Now I'll show you some photos, and your task will be to guess what's wrong with them. Let's begin. Here's the first one for you. Look, there's a lot of snow, so it's obviously winter, but the leaves on the trees are green. That's a mismatch. Can you tell what's wrong here? There's a person in outer space, but he's not wearing any spacesuit helmet. Impossible. What about this picture? Do you see something odd? Look, this one is definitely a cat. I don't think it belongs there underwater. Look closely. Do you see a mismatch here? It's obviously night. It's dark outside, but the clock shows that it's 1:30 p.m. It can't be. What do you think about this photo? Anything weird? Pay attention to how this guy right here is dressed. Shorts and a t-shirt are definitely a bit too light for this weather. It's either a mistake or he's crazy. Let's proceed. What's wrong here? The cow right here is too small. It's the size of a chicken, and also the chicken is too big, I think. The police finally tracked a house from where someone was doing illegal online activities. The next day, they broke in, but there was no one there, and the house looked abandoned. Dirty, dusty, with broken windows. They decided it was a mistake. What do you think? Does anyone ever come here? Look at this. There's a little bouquet of flowers. It's fresh. If the place had been abandoned, it would have already dried out a long time ago. They definitely should keep watching the house.